You and I are going to dive right into After Effects now, and we're going to take it slow, but the way that I've laid out this course is to really make it practical. So in this lesson, we're going to work our way around After Effects. I'm going to talk through the different panels so that you feel a bit more comfortable. I know how daunting it can be when you open up After Effects for the first time. There's so many buttons and titles and panels that are confusing. But I'm not going to make this course one of those courses where I just sit back and tell you, okay, this button does this button does that, this button does this button does that, because that's not a great way to learn. Throughout this course, you're going to be working on mini projects and then full real-world projects. And throughout that, you're going to be learning different tools, different effects. And so I really encourage you just to work through each of the lessons. They build upon each other. And so by the end of this course, you should feel comfortable working on real-world projects in After Effects. If you come across a button or a panel that you're confused about, feel free to let us know and to post a question in the Q&A tab of the course. Otherwise, we might answer that question later on, so just keep working through. When you open up After Effects for the first time, you'll probably get a pop-up, the Start module, that asks you to start a new project. You can see here that I have a number of projects that I've worked on in the past. Once you've been using After Effects for a while, you'll see all of these projects appear here. First, when we're starting, we're just going to click New Project. And that's going to open up After Effects like this. I'm using the Adobe 2017 version, Creative Cloud version of After Effects. If you go up to After Effects up here in the title menu and you click About After Effects, this is how you can see the version. I'm using version 14.2.1.34. It's the 2017.2 release. When After Effects updates, as they usually do once or twice a year, they add new features. I'll be updating this course. Really though, no matter what version you're using, especially if you're using a Creative Cloud version, your After Effects is going to look very similar. So just click in the middle to get out of that menu. The next thing you want to understand is the layout. One thing to note is your After Effects layout might look a little different than mine right now. And that's because there are different workspaces. If you go up to Window and then Workspace, you'll see that there's different workspaces because there's different panels that you might want to use to do different effects, but you might not necessarily need them open all the time if you're not working on that kind of thing. For example, if I click Motion Tracking, it will bring up this Motion Tracker panel on the right-hand side. But if I'm not doing motion tracking, I might not need that panel open. So to get on the same page, go to Window, Workspace, and then go to Default. This will be the default view that we'll be working through in this lecture and moving on. All right, let's get acquainted with After Effects. In the top left, you have your toolbar and your menus. A lot of the things that we do in After Effects with buttons within the actual program down here can be done through the menus up here. A lot of these options are grayed out right now, and that's because we can't do much without starting an actual project. Below that, we have the toolbar. You don't see all the tools right now until we start a composition in a project, but you'll be using a lot of these different tools in this class, most of them actually, and this is really what we use to create our own effects and animations. On the left-hand side is the project panel. This is your basic documents folder for your project. If you've used Adobe Premiere Pro in the past, it's very similar. This is where you can import media and graphics. You can organize things. You can add, everything from music to Illustrator files. Everything you can organize in your project. And this is also where you'll be creating different compositions, which in After Effects, a composition is basically an individual video that you're working on, an individual graphic, an individual sequence. So if you are accustomed to Adobe Premiere Pro, think of a sequence as the individual video you're working on. In After Effects, it's a composition. The way that these panels sometimes work is that you have the main tab, and then behind this, you have another tab. So here we have the Effects Controls tab. This is where you'll be adjusting a lot of effects once they're applied to your footage. So that's the project window or panel. In the middle, you have your composition. Once we start a new composition, which we'll be doing shortly, you'll see this is where you actually have your project. On the right-hand side, there's a number of panels. Just by clicking on them, you can open them or close them. So we have the effects and presets, preview, audio. These are all things that we'll be looking at in the future. And then down below, you have your timeline. This is how you start creating your actual projects. To take it to the next level and see more of the options, we're going to have to start a new composition, and we're going to do that coming up next.